All right, I think we're good to go now. So thank you guys for coming out. This is our second iteration to be able to do this. And I think, as I told you guys the first time that we did it, it's important to not just have you on video teleconference when we do the big town hall that we're going to do on Thursday, but to actually be on the ground here with you guys to, one, to get to know you a little bit better, but really to find out what's really on your mind, see some things after we get done here. I want to walk around a little bit, and if you guys have things you want to show me that need improvement or anything like that, or things that you have improved that you're proud of and you want to show me that, this time is yours to be able to do that. So, on behalf of the Sergeant Major, myself, and the two commanders, thank you again for being here. And what I want to do is spend a little bit of time on some slides, but really that's not what's important. It's what we talk about, and hearing from you guys is what I really want to get out of this. So, all right, so let's go ahead and go to the next slide. And like I said, this isn't church. This isn't church, so if you want to sit in the front row, you can do so, please. These are the agenda that we're going to go through today, and just talk about a few topics like I mentioned before. This is the same slide that I put up last time, my commander's intent, but it hasn't changed, so I just wanted to remind you, and some of you may not have been here last time, to be able to see kind of what I'm getting after. So during my time as a commanding general, this is what I'm looking for from the workforce. You got to be able to want to come to work, to be able to do your job. We got to provide you with what you need to be able to do that. And I know it's a challenge sometimes to be able to do that. But I'll tell you, because I see it day in and day out, and I was talking to Ted a few minutes ago, there are a lot of people in a lot of places that are trying their hardest to make things happen out here at Stallion. One of those, you saw a lot of the old equipment that we were able to take advantage of a National Guard unit that wanted to do some training, some driver's training. And so using some innovative minds, they say, hey, what if we allow you to do some driver's training up here to Stallion, but on your way back, you haul back some of this equipment that's been sitting here for a long time so that we can get it out of here and hopefully start bringing some new stuff in. So things like that is what we're working on. The LRC, as you know, is going to get established up here, and talking to Ted again. He's talking to Mr. Toro and looking for a place that they can, some desk space and things like that, office space that they can use to be able to set up shop up here and then be able to better do their job than trying to do that all the way down at the cantonment area. So those are some things that you guys brought up last time, and it's been a few months since we did this, and things don't happen quickly, but we are making a little bit of progress as we go. So next slide. This is kind of my commander's assessment. This focuses a little bit more on the ATEC side, because that's where I do a lot of my dealings when it comes to personnel and things. But I think as I look across the entire installation, it doesn't matter if it's Garrison, ATEC, or any of the tenants, everybody's kind of dealing with some of the same challenges. The first one is on the personnel side. A couple of years ago, we took a hit on the ATEC side of about 200 personnel from the TDA that were lost. Since then, we had about 100 vacancies, a little bit over 100 vacancies in addition to those 200. So now you're talking 300 people that you used to have that you don't have working right now. So on my next slide, I'll talk a little bit about how we're getting after that. But it brings up some challenges. It brings up risk. When you used to have an additional 100 people and now you don't have them, but you're still doing the same mission and trying to get those same things accomplished, it causes maybe some things to not be done as safely as they could be done or should be done. So that's where I need your help. If you see something that isn't safe, you need to raise the flag and let us know, because the last thing we want to do is lose somebody's life or a limb or something like that based on a safety incident. So I'd rather accept a little bit of risk. Maybe it takes a little bit longer to set something up than to have one of you get hurt or something like that. All right? We're working on some of the processes to make things better. One of those, like I talked about, is the LRC, having an element of them up here to be able to do their business without having to haul your equipment all the way back to the garrison in the cantonment area to be able to get that fixed. So that's just one process. We're looking at a lot of different processes across White Sands to be able to be a little bit more efficient than we have been. The good news, and you can't really see the stats there, but I'll just tell you, the good news is the customer satisfaction, as far as mainly the ones that are out here doing their testing, they're still pretty satisfied with what they're getting. But again, as the commander, my concern is what are we having to do? What are we cutting? What corners are we cutting in order to still be able to satisfy our customers? And when we go from 300, or when you go, having 300 people and now you're 300 less, having been in the Army for 30-some years, my gut tells me that we're probably cutting some corners somewhere. So I'll talk about the hiring, like I said, here in a little bit. And then preparing for the future. I talked a little bit about this last time. General Coffin, when he was here, one of the last things that he had his staff put together is kind of a roadmap. It lays out what we expect from the enemy in the next 30 years, and what do we have to do as an organization to make sure that we're prepared to be able to do all the testing that we need to do to counter the enemy that's out there. And all you got to do is read the news or listen to the news. North Korea, Russia, China, there's a number, Iran. We call those the big four, and then you've got the plus one, which is ISIS. A lot of things going on, bad things going on in the world, and DOD and our government really depends on White Sands being able to do the testing that we do to get capabilities to our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines so that they can do their job. And we do that very, very well. All right, and then, hold on. Part of that strategic plan briefly talks a little bit about the modernization that we have to do in order to be able to get there. But there's not a lot of meat, as I call it, meat that's on the bone. So one of the things I have my staff working on is looking at all the different modernization efforts we have, mainly on the ATEX side, but we're also looking at it from the garrison side as well, and trying to come up with a campaign plan that we can lay out. We need to have this capability in place by such and such a date in order to be able to test these type of things that are coming out. So looking at the enemy, looking at what capability we need to have to be able to counter that, and what modernization things do we need to have in place prior to that in order to be able to do all the things that we have to do and remain relevant, so the customer doesn't decide, hey, White Sands can't do this for us, we need to go somewhere else. So we're trying to lean forward as much as we can. This is tough because it's all tied to money. So budget battles and looking at who are the priorities. So for instance, on the ATEX side, they just did a big laydown of all the radars that be purchased over the next few years. Yuma Proving Grounds needs a number of radars. We need upgraded radars as well. So trying to determine at the ATEC level who gets what radars and when do you get them. So those are some of the battles that we're fighting within the ATEC side. And then I'm sure Colonel Brown's going to talk to you a little bit about on the garrison side, working with MCOM and some of the things that he's doing to work on the garrison piece and the DPW piece of things here at Stallion as well. All right, so what you see in gray this is the same slide I used last time, but I'm going to focus in on the keywords, not necessarily the whole bullet that I had last time. So in hiring, and again, I hate to say it, this is on the ATEC side, but again, we're doing this throughout the garrison, and the garrison commander will talk about some of the initiatives that he has going on. But not so much up here, but in my last town hall that I did back down in the garrison in the cantonment area, they talked about not having the opportunity to be able to excel within the headquarters or within White Sands. So the good news is, with those 100 shortages that we have, we've been able to actually internally promote over 40 people into a position. Now, what that doesn't do for me is aggregate, my numbers are still the same, because if I just move somebody from a 12 to a 13 or something like that, I still have the same problem. I got those 40 people that I got to fill, but at least we're able to hire within, and now we can go out and hire that level below, and we'll have somebody that actually understands White Sands and the mission that's here. So a good news story, especially for those that felt like, there is no career progression here at White Sands. And we have vacancies in all departments. So, whether you guys are looking for something on the ATEC side, or if you know people that are actually looking for jobs, let them know that White Sands is hiring. Anytime I have the opportunity to speak, any engagement that I have, I try to make sure that they understand that, because there's a lot of corporations that aren't hiring right now, and other parts of the government that aren't hiring, but we definitely are hiring, and we need new people. We need people that have the right credentials so that we can do the jobs that we need to do for the mission that I talked about before. Modernization, I talked a little bit about modernization and what we got to have in place to be able to do that. The good news story here from the last time I was here, I think I may have briefed that it's been 19 years since we had a MilCon project that had been approved. Within the last 6 months, we have 2 now that have officially been approved at the headquarters Department of the Army level and all the way up to DOD. The first one is a network facility that is, if you're familiar with the Cantonment area, Building 123, really close to the headquarters there. That's the hub where all of our network for the entire range goes through there. A few years ago, we had a fire in that area. We've had water that's gone into that building. It's a mess. But the good news is we are now on tap for fiscal year 19 to be able to get a brand new building, get that network, all the capabilities that needs to go in there. And that, like I said, ties the backbone of White Sands together and keeps us relevant and able to do the mission that we need to do. So that was the first one. And then the second one in fiscal year 21 is a, what did we call it? Missile Range Complex, or Missile Range Building, some people know it as. And so 2 MilCon projects that are very important to White Sands, that with the help of DPW and the garrison and ATEC and the test center working together, we are able to take that information up to Department of the Army. And it doesn't hurt when Major General Ferrari is now, who used to be the White Sands commander a few years ago, he's now up there in the Pentagon that helps determine what gets funded and what doesn't. So I think, with the hard work that these guys did, and then having him up there, as well as Lieutenant General Bingham, who's in another piece, another former commander of here, we have people that are looking out for White Sands, so that's good news as well. All right. I kept that one all together because we still need to do a better job of telling the Wismer story. Part of the reason why we have all the cameras here today is we really want to make sure that we're getting the word out so everybody understands what's going on at White Sands. You hear rumors of people saying, hey, what's going on with White Sands? Is it going to go away? We hear there's going to be another BRAC, those type of things. We got to tell a story of what's really going on here, what we're doing in modernization and things like that, so that we don't let those rumors keep on fostering. We stamp them out so that they know that, White Sands is here to stay, and we're doing all we can to continue to make sure that we are in a position to be able to do what we got to do for the many years to come. Oh, let me go back to modernization, and I know Colonel Rano is going to talk about it as well, so I'm just going to briefly say the fast burst reactor, that's the nuclear reactor that's back on the Cantonment area. Another good news story, and I'll just leave it at that and let Colonel Rano give you some specifics on that, but great news story. And then on the ATEC side, and we'll see if maybe Garrison can do this as well, but we've been able to leverage using DLA for some of our purchases. So, you talked about some of the challenges on the contracting side. We've been able to use DLA to leverage for some of the things that we're trying to get, and it's really helped. So we're spreading that as we go through this process, and if it works well, then we'll make sure that the other tenants know about what we're doing, and we can be able to use DLA to purchase some of the things that we need to do for the future. And it doesn't matter if it's a truck or whatever. To me, that's modernization. If we go from some of the equipment that Ted showed me the first time I was up here, that rolled in here 33 years ago when he first started, And that's some of the stuff I told you the National Guard hauled out of here. But getting a new piece of equipment like that, in my mind, is part of the modernization. So it's not just a new radar or something like that. It's as simple as a truck, a front loader, or things like that you guys need in order to do your job to allow the testing to take place. And then the last one, if you guys remember, I talked about building Team Wismer. This is another part of the reason I like to come out here is, we have a little bit of ATEC that's out here. We got DPW, we got the fire department, we got, some DES people. There's a good mix of people that are up here, and some of the customers that come up here as well, or other tenants that come up to do some of their testing or things like that. That's all part of Team Wismer, and so part of what I'm trying to do while I'm here as a commanding general is make sure that we look at this not just through stovepipes of DPW or Garrison or ATEC or anything like that, but really look at it from Team Wismer aspects. So some of the things, and you guys don't get to see much of this up here where you're at, but some of the things that we've put in place are honors and retirement ceremonies. We're doing those on a regular basis now. We're able to give some awards to those that are deserving, and also see off those that are retiring after, like Ted, 33 years of service. We owe it to our workforce to send them off the right way. We do it on the military side really well. We don't do it so well on the civilian side. So we've implemented that, and it's open to all tenants. So it's not just the ATEC Garrison piece, but anybody on White Sands that wants to go through that ceremony, we allow them to do that. And again, I know that doesn't pertain to you guys too much, but just so you know some of the things that we're doing, and I'm open to doing something up here at a much smaller level if you guys are interested in doing something like that. Thanks Team Wismer, another event that happens down south. We had the holiday ball. Hopefully you guys all got invitations, but again, I know it's tough when you're up here to go all the way down to the cantonment area. That'll be on the 9th of December. Everybody's invited, doesn't matter where you work, civilian, military, some of the community. It's a great event. So if you have the opportunity, you want to attend, by all means, please do. Tenant briefs, one of the things I'm going to do on Thursday when we do this in the cantonment area is I allowed all the tenants to come. Only a couple were able to meet at this time to participate, but allow them to brief a couple slides on what their missions is. NASA, as an example, a lot of people don't even know that they're on the other side of the Oregon mountains there in Las Cruces, but it's on our grounds, and they do some pretty amazing stuff. So just giving them an opportunity to be part of Team Wismer and tell their story to everybody, so everybody has a little bit of understanding. Jam session, we've had one so far, kind of a right arm night that we did at the bowling alley, and yours truly, the commanding general, got up and played a little guitar and sang a couple songs. So just trying to do things to make people have a little bit of fun, and we'll probably do that again, and maybe we can look at doing something up here. Anybody play any instruments or anything? No? All right, so you guys make the food, and we'll play the music then, maybe. And then in June we did the Army Ball, as well as we had an Army Run down on the cantonment area. So those are just a small example of some of the things that we're doing to really trying to build up Team Wismer a little bit more. Next.
Now you guys are really here to see me, right? You excited? Don't worry, I won't tell CG, okay? It's all good. I'm going to stand over on this side. That way they got to move the cameras now. Here, actually, I have to do some more. So look, I've already thought of a way we can get after the drone and UAV issue, right? So I think we give each one of these guys a shotgun, right? And they can go ahead, yeah, and they can knock it down. Yeah, so what do you think? So hey, look, the CG talked about hiring. I want to hit a couple things that you brought up. Hiring, you can't go and work for the test center, okay? I'm hiring too. So find some friends over on the test center. Tell them to come on over. The grass is always greener on the other side. Not always, right? Hey, tell the Wismer story. CG talked about that. Whether or not you know it, you all are an integral part of telling the White Sands in the Army story. And you do that twice a year at Trinity. right? Who gets everything ready for trimming? You guys do. You make sure the grounds are straight, the roads are straight, everything. DES comes up here, fire department supports, right? It all comes out of this small staff that we have at Stallion. So you guys are important to that. And CG talked about his GM sessions. He's actually pretty good, okay? And he's serious. If you want him to come up, he'll figure out a way to make it happen, right? So don't think that he's selling you wolf tickets, all right? He doesn't have the voice of Fergie, okay, but he's pretty good. All right, so let's get over here. Let's get after some stuff. All right, so hey, we're in transition too. So what you might not know is we've got a new deputy commander coming on board. So Kate is now gone. She's at the Naval War College, and we got Mr. Tim Anderson is going to be our new deputy. So part of what he's going to do is we ramp him up and get him smart on all things IMCOM and White Sands. Is we'll get him up here to visit you guys. So Tim Anderson is coming here on the 21st. We have a new interim EEO director. So Norm Estrada has retired. So Mr. Malcolm Walker he's actually the lead at Bliss, but he's covering down on us as well. So he's the guy that's running the EEO shop until we can get that vacancy filled. We talked about hiring. Hiring is a problem. You guys know how long it takes to hire folks, right? It's not fast. Bernardo talked about prioritization. Prioritization is key, and it's key from you guys in Fire and Emergency Service, also DPW. You guys were all number one. Now you're not number one. DPW is number one. So I mean, we workload the CPAC or not? The CPAC to make sure we get their attention on our actions. All right. Contract management support, Melanie Javery, she moved up into that position, so you guys might have worked with Mel before. She's superior and she's doing a great job. Lowell is the new IMO, so he worked at the DPC, and I've got an IMO billet. Well, since we're moving off of the DREN, the ATEC network, and we're coming on to the Army Enterprise server, guess what? I got to have that person support. So Lowell's moving in to fill that position full time. And then we got a new chaplain. So Chaplain Carruthers is gone. He's at West Point, and now we got Tim Reynolds. He came over from the Sergeant's Major Academy at Bliss. So he's a quality chaplain. You're not going to see any degradation there in the services that he delivers. And again, he's only one deep, right? So he's one-on-one. Okay, so LRC movement, up range. So one of the things that I've been pounding frickin' the ASC, Army Sustainment Command, about is getting LRC up here to work on your equipment, right? That's important, and we're close. But guess what? They have problems, just like the rest of the Army. They got manning problems, they can't hire, and they got funding problems. So as a matter of fact, I brought it up to the brigade commander, a number of issues we're having with the LRC, and he's assigned a 15-6 officer to come in and look at our LRC. We're here this week, as a matter of fact. It's not a bad thing, it's a good thing, right? Because people just don't understand how big this freaking range is, right? It's like Stallion Range Complex is Washington, D.C., and the Cantonment area is Richmond, Virginia, right? And when you start laying it out to people in those terms, like, oh, really? Yeah, would you take your equipment all the way from Washington, D.C. to Richmond to get service? No, you wouldn't. You'd put somebody up there to work on it, wouldn't you? Yeah, we would. Okay. So anyways, we're getting some traction, all right? It's not easy. It's not easy, and it's been a consistent theme of mine and also the CGs. All right. I don't want to talk about lost work order clerks. Bottom line is DPW is sucking, all right? And that is actually work order clerks are my number one priority. Can you believe that? A work order clerk is my number one hiring action. Wow. That's because nobody can open up a work order without them. I got nobody, right? I don't have a bench of people that I can just swing and say, hey, guess what? I need you to sit and cover the phones today. In 10 years, we've lost, what I think, just 58% of our workforce in 10 years. 58% of our workforce has been cut in the past 10 years. So we just don't have the depth nor breadth of individuals. And that's how you get a DPW clerk that is the number one priority, okay? IPB's coming. Mrs. McCullough is the directorate lead. She'll be here, and that's where she and the CG will sit side by side, and we tell everything that we've done and look at our priorities and did we do what we said we were going to do last year, right? And And then it's a new contract between IMCOM and the commanding general. And then we slap the tape when we're finished and we start executing. So that's that. So let's talk about old equipment. 56% of all of our equipment in the garrison is so old that it has a maintenance expenditure limit of $0. That means that the LRC cannot spend a single dime on that piece of equipment because it's so old. It's by Army regulation. So we're taking some actions to try to get long-term solutions. One is get relief from the MEL, i.e. give us authorizations for a year up to a dollar figure to repair your equipment. And then also get me some new equipment, right? Wouldn't it be nice? Well, it would be really nice, wouldn't it? So I got into this discussion with the directorate level, and one of them said something like, we were talking about your scrapers or graders. Yeah, the graders, right? It's grader? Yeah, the grader. And he's like, yeah, well, 15 years old. I said, I wish mine were only 15 years old. Okay? So you just don't get, they don't get the scope in the severity of the problem. But the more consistent we are with our messaging, the better off we're going to be. So we've got UFers and markers out there right now with IMCOM for equipment. And of course, it's Jose prioritizes it on behalf of DPW, right? So I know that he's taking your requirements into consideration. So, okay, so what do we do for the Army? All right, what do we do for the Army? Well, look at the top right. Things that we have done have actually made it into the draft FY18 NDAA. All right, and this is the top two items, which gives us more flexibility. So I actually asked for 15%, and I got 7.5%. So that gives us more flexibility to do things. That's my, what's that money?
ERVT.
ERVT. I don't even know what it stands for, but I like it. Okay. All right. It allows me flexibility to get after tasks that the CG might need done or your Corono might need done. It just gives us more flexibility. So, and then managing FMWR's money at the aggregate level, which means I don't have to stovepipe it by category. It's as long as I'm positive in the aggregate, I'm good to go. Okay. So those are two huge wins. The Army's going to benefit from that. Okay. And then what was done right here. Okay, so we talked about OPEX. OPEX came up here and briefed you guys, right? Operation Excellence, that's important. And part of that is, connecting and identifying with your organization, which is why I gave you guys all your pledge pins, all right? So next time I see you, we're doing some things about 24-hour, 7 days a week gym access downrange. I know that doesn't do you guys a lot of good, but these are, I tell you that because somebody brought it up to me as an idea and we moved out on it. So if there's things of that nature that you need here, like if you guys need better gym equipment, the first stop with FMWR before they sell that stuff is Don Morrison, the DES director, knows you guys get first dibs on it, okay? To help out your Rocky Gym. Okay, Garrison Facebook, On the Range. So if you're not a fan of the Garrison Facebook page, you ought to because it's awesome. All right, I'm on it all the time. No, I'm not really, but it's awesome. It's how we communicate with everybody. And so a couple of weeks ago, we dreamed up an idea called, and we didn't know what to call it at first, but we ended up calling it On the Range. All right, so it could be On the Range with Ted. All right, and I wanted to highlight organizations. I wanted to highlight people. Excellence, right, goes back to Operation Excellence, right? Same theme. So On the Range with Ted, or On the Range with the Stallion Range Complex, DPW, and firefighters, which we're going to do today. So we're going to actually do that. And it's about a 2-minute bit, and we talk about you and what you're doing. Get to introduce yourself. You should be live on Facebook. What do you think of that? I think it's awesome. Okay, so Army branding. So the Army's got a very specific branding that we have to implement. So if you've been in El Paso Gate, if you've been in Las Cruces Gate, you've probably seen the new signage, right? If you come in 380, guess what? You ain't see that sign. You know why? Because nobody thinks about you. Guess what? I thought about you. We're going to get you guys a new sign. All right. It's going to be in line with what the Army says it's supposed to be. And then we're going to actually put some new signs out on 70 as well. And I've got the draft for those. Once the CG says, Roger, that's what I want. That's what we're going to start putting up there. And then again, I talked about you guys tell the Army story, and don't forget October's coming up, right? So that's Trinity, first weekend in October. So you guys are going to help us tell the Army story, the nation story. And then I talked about the neck migration. It's coming. You're going to get it. It sucks, okay? But it's gonna suck and then it's gonna get better, right? So it's coming. I just can't remember where you're at in priority, but just get on board. And then once we do that, then we'll transition over to the staff. Okay? That's all I got for you guys. Yeah, for me. Yes, sir.
Why does forklifts keep taking a lot of our work as far as admin?
Okay, so we don't have a population density that's big enough. Okay, so we want to talk about MIC contracting specifically. We don't have contracting here that we're allowed to use. So the test center does have a very small contracting, so we are forced to use the MIC that's on list. Now, what you don't realize is half of them are deployed because the green suiters are all deployed to theater right now. And on top of that, there were about 67, I think, or 76, I can't remember which number, percent staffed. So they were short staffed anyways. So that doesn't really answer your question why we have to go there, because that's who our service at MIC is. We're not allowed to come off of it. Just like if we want to use the Corps of Engineers, we have to use the Hood, Fort Worth, there you go, Fort Worth region Corps of Engineers, unless they give us the authorization to use something else. And they've only done that once so far since I've been here. All right, so it stinks, Ted, I know it. It's tough. I will tell you that I stay actively engaged with those guys, and if it's important, you know, we try to. I get frustrated with contracting too, just so you know. Jose's been working on grounds and custodial contract for months, and right when we think we got it all locked in, they ship it over to JBLM, right? And then you got a new KO contracting officer, and you're like, yeah, I don't like this, and then we're freaking starting at zero again. That's the Army Enterprises solution to being more efficient. It's not more efficient. It actually sucks, okay? But, you know, I try not to be a victim from the process, so we got to stay actively engaged until it gets done. And, you know, I'm the squeaky wheel gets the grease, so we just try to keep after it. So if there's something that's important to you and we're missing the mark on, just let us know. Okay? All right, what else?
One thing that came up new, sir, was medical physicals for the guys up here. They had to go down to McAfee, and now they're told to go to Full Bliss now. So we're looking at other alternatives closer to this area for them.
Oh, okay. We can look into that. I bet you we might be able to get some traction with McAfee, maybe even coming up here. Maybe. I'm not saying. We can ask. The answer is no until you ask, right?
So also maybe other places, maybe Kirkland Air Force Base or some other locations closer. Or their own physical, personal doctors.
Understand. All right, Josie's got the note. We'll look into it. You know, there's a new McAfee commander too. All she wants to do is help out. Beaumont Hospital has a new commander. All he wants to do, I think, is help out. And you know, he came to see the CG&I last week, and he laid it out. And if I would have known this was an issue, I'd have thrown that one out on the table. All right, what else? Those are good ones. Okay, sure, please.
I want to address the question about the hiring that you asked a few minutes ago. I didn't realize you were on the ATEC side. I can't remember all you employees and where you all work, but I'm part of the reason why I pushed it, because like I told you, we did a lot of internal hirings, but it didn't really solve my aggregate number. So as they come in and they brief me, you know, we're staying the same or we're actually getting worse, because you know, you heard about Gil Harding and Richard Martinez and others that have retired. So as we're hiring from within, you know, we're filling those, but we're not getting the numbers any better. So, you know, I finally got tired of looking at these numbers after the hiring freeze from the new president that came on board. When they finally released that, I said, hey, we gotta get after this. And so I kind of put the mark on the wall. I want it by the end of the fiscal year. Let's get as many as we can, because you never know with a new fiscal year what could happen. We do know we're going to be in a continuing resolution most likely, so we're not going to get more money. We'll be told to, hey, stick to your baseline for fiscal year 17, and so it was kind of my way to say, hey, staff, let's get after this thing. So there's no hidden agendas behind it other than me getting frustrated of seeing the same numbers for weeks and weeks and weeks and not making a lot of improvement.
I read out on the website, they were talking about where commander-in-chief, Mr. Trump, he was already cutting like 12,000 jobs, and I thought maybe that was having an effect with the DOD side. But that's all.
Nothing that we've seen. This was all internal. Just hey, let's get after it and do what we can. You know, the end of the fiscal year to me was a good mark on the wall. Let's see by the end of the fiscal year how many we can get. Do it all legally. Do all the processes that you have to do. But what we did, and I briefed this the last time, is one of the things that we've been able to do with the ATEC is be able to brief or be able to hire. Say we need 10 engineers instead of having to send out 10 separate PDs and go after each one of those separately. They allowed us to be able to send one out and then hire, or let's say you need 4, we could hire up to 10 people potentially, because you're going to lose some of them aren't going to meet the cut, and at the end you're actually, you know, making some progress on the numbers that are kind of sitting stagnant. So anyway, we're doing things like that, trying to get the numbers better, and trying to get the workforce where we need to get, so that we can get after, you know, the concerns I have, and safety is a huge concern of mine. Like I said, having done this for 30 some years, you just get a gut feeling when something isn't right, and you know, the test center guys want to do the right thing and make sure that we're supporting our customer, but you know, what are we not doing safely potentially? I don't know, because I'm not, you know, I can't be everywhere, but just the gut feeling says. And so how do you solve that? Well, one, you know, we put some things in place to try to fix some of the procedures that are out there, but the second thing is you get you guys the people that you need to be able to do what you have to have, and then the equipment that you need as well. So I take that personally as a responsibility as a commanding general, getting you the people you need and getting you the equipment that you need. That's you know, my job is to resource, and so that's what we're doing.
All right, so, thank you.
Right. What other questions do we have out there from that you have for the commanding general that you haven't already hit? Kind of hit the 2 colonels hard, so I'm trying to take a little pressure off of them. Sergeant Major, anything you wanted to add while we have everybody here?
Yeah, I'll just add something real quick. Somebody mentioned earlier, somebody brought up the question of the National Guard unit that was driving equipment back and forth. Those guys absolutely love that. And Jason Pingo, the G3 guy, he's the one that really got that stuff rolling. And they really enjoy the facilities down in White Sands. We got a barracks down there that they're able to stay at, centrally located to the PX, laundromat, all that kind of stuff. They love it, and they want to be able to come back. And I think Jason's looking at potentially 500 guardsmen wanting to come back next summer, and even some more guardsmen want to come back for weekend drills and stuff like that. So as long as we can maintain the facilities that we have, I think they'll want to come back. And so that's my focus, to do that, so that we can kind of think outside the box, right, and try to get some of that stuff done. So they do want to come back. They love White Sands, and they love the driver's training that they got all the way from the Cantonment area back up to here. So hopefully we'll be able to keep working that, and hopefully we got some more stuff that needs worked on or transported. We're working with the National Guard unit. I think it's a trans unit out of El Paso, and they want to come back. So we're trying to work that real hard so that we can try to help out and do other things like that for you guys.
Well, it's good to know, because Ted still got 3 or 4 pieces of equipment he needs.
Yeah.
He fell short, just 3 or 4.
So with that said, you know, if we do get them, you get word that they're coming, then think outside the box. Get the, you know, depending on where you work, get it to one of the 2 colonels of, hey, these are some projects that potentially we could kick to these guys, and it's a great opportunity for them and a great opportunity for us. And so, Jason, we really appreciate, you know, you getting that first one going and getting a lot of that equipment out of here, so that we can. That's like phase 1. You know, let's get it out of here, and then, you know, go after MCOM to start funding to get us some of this other, or at least allow us to put some money into some of this equipment that we're not supposed to spend any money on, like Colonel Brown talked about. All right, one last time, any other questions, concerns? All right, then if I could, Ted, if you could come up here real quick. This is easy stuff. So I think everybody knows Ted's been working up here for 33 years, and he's going to hang it up at the end of August, August 31st. So he's almost to the end of his career. He's done a lot of great things out here, specifically at Stallion, but throughout the range. And you know, we couldn't do our mission without you. And I know I always enjoy when I come up here, and you're always one that greets me and shows me around and tells me like it is, you know, which is, sir, this stuff's broke, we need help. That's what I need to know. You know, if you can sugarcoat it, but you're not going to get anything for it. But if you tell me what the issues are, then we can try to go after it. And one of those was, we got to get that equipment out of here. We got to get you new equipment. And Garrison Commander and I have been working hard with MCOM. When Miss McCullough was here the first time, we made sure that she understood that this is an issue. I wouldn't have known if it was an issue unless you were, you know, blunt with me and did that. So this is just a small token of my appreciation. And thank you for all your hard work, and good luck in your retirement. All right, that's all I have for now. I'm going to stick around for a while and just walk around. If anybody has anything they want to, you know, talk on the side as we walk, or show me something, we can do that. But we got a little bit more time, and I think that gives the garrison some time to do their on the range thing that they want to do for Facebook. So appreciate it again. Thanks for all your hard work, and great seeing you guys.